and then hit open. And so now it imports them into that bin. And it's telling me that one has a problem. So I'll delete that one. Alright, now one new feature, this is kind of cool. When you mouse over a clip, you can actually drag back and forth and it will scrub through the file and let you see what it is. So that's kind of a handy feature so you can actually see what's in the clip. Okay, I can see that that's not what I'm going to use, so I'll delete it. Take that one out as well. Balloon clip, that's cool. Azteca Olympics, that's cool. Alright, so let's say this is the one I want first. If I double click on it, it'll bring it up here to the preview side and I can actually start editing it. Okay, so if I drag along the little timeline bar here, I can move to a point and hit mark in, and move to another point and hit mark out. And then if I use one of these buttons over here, it'll actually put it onto the timeline, okay, wherever my timeline cursor is. So I'm actually going to back up my timeline cursor to 0, and then I'm going to hit insert. And it just inserted that short clip that I just clipped out. It just put it onto the timeline for me, okay. So now I'm going to double click another clip. I'm just going to leave it raw, and I'm just going to hit insert on that. So it put the entire clip down on the timeline. Now I'm going to go back to this other source clip, and you can see the in and out points are still set. But if I want a different piece of that clip now, I can move to, say, this frame right here, mark a new in point, and then come over and mark a new out point, and now I'm going to use this portion of the file. Now, remember before I used insert? If I were to simply grab and drag, that does the same thing. So it's whichever way you prefer to work. Okay, you can actually just grab the image, drag it down to the timeline, and let go. Or you can just use insert. Okay, so what I've done is I've created 3 separate segments here, just edited back to back, and you can see as I mouse over different parts of the clip, it changes the cursor to, you know, different modes. Like this is the out point mode. So if I grab that and just drag, you can see I'm adjusting the out point of that clip. If I want to adjust the in point, I can select the clip, touch the left edge of it, and I can drag back and forth as well, and that will set the in point. Okay? Another way to do that would be double click the clip, move through, mark a new in point, and notice it just trimmed it. Okay? So if you double click from the timeline, it loads the timeline version of the clip back up in the preview player. Okay? And then you can trim it down and then collapse the gap there. Now notice I collapsed the gap just by dragging it, but I could also just right click on this blank space and do a ripple delete, and that will collapse the gap as well. Okay? So that way it puts all the pieces back together after trimming something. You can see that all 3 of these clips actually had audio attached. So when I brought the clips onto audio or video track 1, it also brought the associated audio onto audio track 1. And all the edits that I've been doing have been affecting both. Okay? But if I want, I can actually right click on the audio and I can tell it that I want to unlink it. And then by unlinking the audio, now I can make separate edits on the audio that do not affect the video. Okay, so I just trimmed out part of that audio because in this clip I don't want to hear the beginning or the end, I just want the middle piece there. And then maybe I want additional audio from this one. If I unlink that one as well, then I can take the audio here and trim it out to the left and fill underneath that balloon clip. See? So now I'm using the audio from the Azteca clip underneath balloons. I can do the same thing on this end. The trick is unlinking it, select it, and then drag. See? So now I have continuous audio, but I'm actually getting the audio from voiceover from another clip. Now if I want to zoom in or out, I can just touch the edges here of this little bottom scroll bar. So notice scrolling back and forth works like normal, but touching the edges lets me zoom in or zoom out. Okay? And it's based on the timeline cursor position. So if I move this cursor to a different spot,